And Chris, might as well sing because I got this thing right here. Here we go. Hey, all right. Listen, a little technical background. No big
Well, you
deal.
know.
Good evening, everybody. Coming off our last show, another Unlock the Middle episode coming at you live right now on a Sunday night. We have a special treat tonight. We've had Bonnie Nieves on before, and she's coming back now. I don't want to say improved because she's always been great at what she does, but she is building her own capacity just to become even that much better in the classroom. And we're really excited to have her. My name is Dean Packard. I'm the principal of Charlton Middle School in Charlton, Massachusetts. Alongside of me, I have Chris Starcheski and I've got Josh Tovar. And I'll tell you what, these guys are just in rare form tonight. We just came off another show a little while ago, and we're going to go right into another one right now. We're streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. We got it on Twitch now. We're on LinkedIn. We're all over the place. So all good stuff. So please retweet this out later on and make sure you share it because there's always nuggets of information. Let's kick it over to Chris. Chris, how are you, man?
Hey, I'm awesome, man. It's been about 16 minutes since I talked to you guys last. It's great. Bringing back an oldie but a goodie, in Bonnie. We talked to her a couple of
I saw
years
Bonnie's
ago.
reaction to that. That's not true.
A couple of years ago, it seems like ages ago, when we had her on. I believe it was a Middle Marvels episode.
We had a Valentine's special with the Edu sisters. Do you remember that?
Oh, I remember that one. That was
we couldn't say a word.
We just sat back and
got out of the way.
Let the crew run. But no, I'm doing great. It's great to be on with you tonight, Dean and Josh. How are you, my friend?
Ready to rock and roll, gentlemen. Ready to rock and roll. Had some of that absorbing from the last episode a couple of minutes ago, but you know what? The brain keeps on growing. Dendrites keep on being created, and that's the only way we're going to become a better version of ourselves. Because we are holding ourselves accountable to make sure that the whole country's connected. Because we're only stronger together.
Hey, well, listen, nobody wants to hear us talk. So live from Mendon, Upton, I should say Dudley, Massachusetts first. Okay, we want to bring in Bonnie Nieves. She's been here before. Welcome back again, Bonnie. Great to have you on our show. How are you doing?
I am fabulous. How are you? I love the intro. I always feel like the fighter walking down, like I should be going like this and high-fiving people.
Have your hood on. A little Apollo Creed or something. I watched that the other night. Oh, man, it's so good. So good to see you. You know what? And I'll tell you, we were talking earlier about the Edu Sisters when we had that Valentine's Day special. You guys are absolutely, when you're together, that group of you guys are absolutely incredible. And again, I can tell you, even singular, you're all great. You're all doing those things that are so important in education. So, and that's what brings us back here tonight to hear a little bit about you. So why don't you tell everybody out there a little bit about Bonnie once again, who you are, what you're up to, and where you're teaching, and some of the things you're all about right now.
All right, so let's see. Bonnie Nieves, high school science teacher, biology goddess on Twitter. That's a long story. I don't actually believe I'm a goddess. That was my nickname in college. We'll leave it at that. On Instagram, though, I am Be Awesome on Purpose, and that is because my book came out. Has it been 2 years? I think it's been 2 years, but this little thing's been out for a while. And I switched schools mid-pandemic. Now I am still in Central Mass, so I work at Mendon Upton at Nipmuc High School, teaching all electives to upperclassmen. It's like being in the penthouse of education in my book. That's like, I have so much respect for elementary and middle school teachers because, man, they've got a heck of a job on their hands. So I really appreciate the role that I have this year with all the electives. They're electives that I've taught before. So I get to do some like learning lab type stuff, trying out all the stuff that I've learned over the summer at the conferences I've gone to. I honestly lost count. I mean, I'm really bad with numbers. I think it was 4 conferences I've been to, but I've been out traveling and just meeting people for the first time that I've had in my Twitter PLN for years. And it's just, I have to take this week off of doing all the things so I can sit and reflect on all that I've learned and how I'm going to put it into practice for when school goes back in a couple of weeks. So,
Well,
Yeah.
first of all, I'm just going to jump in for a second, and I know that Nipmuc is a great school. You guys are like we'll call you the gold star. It's a high standard school. There's no doubt about it. Your superintendent's great. Your infrastructure's strong. Your teachers are outstanding, and your reputation speaks for itself. So you're in a really, really good place. I'm glad that you recognize that part of your district, and more importantly, I'm really excited about you and your capacity and how you're building yourself to do some things outside of the classroom to really make you just that much more of that it factor, and I love that word it factor when it comes to promoting that positive vibe out there. So I'm just going to steal that first one. I'm going to toss that back to you. Talk about some of the new things that you're trying to do right now.
So I have been going out to conferences, doing presentations at conferences, but then also choosing not to do any presentations just so that I can be learning all of the time. And one of the presentations that I did was, it actually, it's, I mean, it, I'll make this a longer story than it needs to be. How about that? Kind of like my book, the title seems like it's like a warm and fuzzy feel good thing, but it ends up being a lot of work. So the title of my session that was really successful was increase student engagement, decrease teacher workload. And it was really well received. And the things that I heard from it were like, what else is there? Because in a 1 hour webinar, you can't really dig into all sorts of things. So my newest thing that should be going live tomorrow, fingers crossed on the internet, is an online course that will start out for free because I really just want feedback, and all about how integrating culturally responsive teaching, effective classroom routines will really increase student engagement and decrease the amount of work that you have to do as a teacher in order to maintain the student engagement and really ramp up student learning. So yeah, online courses, brand new thing for me. I have so much respect for people that do those. It's a lot of work putting it together. It's a lot easier to talk about things than it is to put it together into a digital package that actually looks good and makes sense. So yeah, online courses is the newest thing.
That's awesome, Bonnie. Congratulations on being able to release that online course. You know, the wisdom and experience that you've had across the years, you know, will definitely come into play and help other educators out there. Can you give us a couple of tidbits, you know, related to that, you know, student-centered learning, classroom management routines, and the like that folks really should pay attention to as they prepare to be better?
Yeah, yeah, sure. So I think pretty much now anyone who's watching this is familiar with getting to know students right off of the bat, right? Like first thing, walking in the door. I was having a conversation yesterday with someone who said, first impressions are lasting. And my response to that was, that's why you have to make sure you're in control of the first impression, right? Whether it's your first impression on a student or a student's first impression on you, you have to make sure that kid's coming in with their A game, and you've got a quarter of a second to do it as they're walking in the door. So don't miss your chance. Always be at the door. That's the number one thing. And it sounds so goofy and simple, but man, it makes a huge difference. Even on the days when I know that, or on the days that I can't be at my door because the phone was ringing or something, and just you can feel the little bit of anxiety in the room that's not there when you're at the door. So, number one thing, just do that. And then establish a routine that works for you as a teacher. So, there's always going to be a kid that comes into the room and isn't ready to learn at that moment. So you need to make sure you've got something going on for the other, 34 kids at this point in some classrooms to be able to address that one or two that aren't quite ready to learn, but doesn't keep the other kids waiting. So like warm-ups, really underrated as long as they're meaningful. And if you can't, like sometimes you can't think of something that's a meaningful warm up to do, or maybe you're in a rush because you've got a ton of things to do, then just make it a check-in, right? Just a, hey, how you doing today? What was your favorite thing about what happened yesterday? Just ask that, because then that starts some good vibes going with the kids in the room, and you're trying to settle whatever happened with the kids that aren't ready to learn yet. And if you just do that in a daily routine, and then do some sort of instruction for 10 minutes, then a check-in after 10 minutes, and then a wrap up, and then some sort of an exit slip, like some sort of reflection. It doesn't really matter what those things are. It's really modular, and a teacher can really, really personalize it to what they're good at and what they have the capacity to do, and what the students in front of them need, because what the students in front of you need is different than what the kids in the room next door need. So you can't always just copy that from the, it might work great for the teacher next door. And if you try it and it doesn't work, don't be down on yourself. It's just, you have different kids, or you have the same kids at different times, or in different orders, or before lunch or after they met someone in the hallway. It's just really making sure that you've got something that you can do that works for you first. Don't be struggling. Don't give yourself more to do than you can handle. And then make it consistent, right? This is that culturally responsive piece where kids need to feel safe. They need to know what to expect when they walk in the room. Right?
100. Thanks, Bonnie.
Yeah.
I like the whole concept of book studies, because it helps our team members in regards to connecting with our students.
Yeah.
Because if we all have one idea, one vision, it's going to help out the collective. This year we had Ron Clark, who did it, Move Your Bus. Last year we did Todd Whitaker's What Great Teachers Do. We also did the 4 Agreements. We also did Sean Kane's Fundamental 5. And it's always been led by our team members. We do stations, and they present it using technology, because it's another way of not only embedding the concept of the book, but also that it's teacher led, not Josh talking else. So how do you feel? How can that whole capacity or ability be enhanced to ensure that book studies are used to create that PD? Kind of like right now, we have free PD. All you have to do is click and say, I'm in. What about book studies?
I'm sorry, can you just repeat that? Because I was just working on my mic a little bit and I missed that question.
No, the only whole thing I'm asking is what is your angle in regards to involving book studies to enhance the collective?
Yeah, I love them. And by the way, can you all hear me? Because I have a mic that I can plug in if you can't.
No, you're fine, with a little bit of feedback coming from some other areas, but not so bad. Not so bad.
Okay. So yeah, book studies, amazing. And you're right, getting everybody on the same page, because like I said, it doesn't matter if you're doing the exact same thing as the person next door, but there has to be some consistency. It makes a difference for kids to walk into a room and have completely different expectations in one place than in another, or just to go from a place where there's no routine at all to a place where there is one. And surprisingly, the struggle is going to be in the place where there's no routine. Or maybe for high schoolers, I think that's counterintuitive, but in elementary, it's more expected. Because even in high school, kids like the guardrails. And every teacher having the same guardrails is really good. But yeah, I actually I know I try not to plug myself a lot, but it's relative. I just wrapped up a book study on my book, and I was amazed at the people that had the book with a million Post-it notes in it. Like, oh, this was so valuable. We're going to do this. Like, whoa, that's really awesome. And it doesn't matter really what book it is. If it's a book that works for your team and your community, it's going to be amazing. And if everybody has a million Post-it notes in it, then that means that you're making connections. So yeah, love them.
Bonnie, take us down the road of student-centered learning and why it's so important to make that shift from the lens of a teacher. And, we all know that education is evolving right in front of us. And if we don't get on the train to evolve, guess what happens? You're going to get left behind and you're going to become stagnant. So let's talk about what that means from where your viewpoint is.
So for me, where I am right now, student-centered learning means that I have a, a an idea of all the things I want to cover. And of course, I have the standards, but because I'm an elective class, I don't have the regular more rigid state standards. So I have a rough idea of what I want to do. And I have ideas in my head for the kids that have particular career interests or college interests. But my plans are really, really dependent on the kids that show up in the room. So, and by that I mean when they come in on the first day, I am automatically giving them activities that I set up intentionally to be able to find the leaders in the room and like all the different personalities right off the bat in the first couple of days. Then when I introduce a new topic, it's going to be really open-ended. So like for an example, when I teach anatomy and I do the skeletal system, I'm going to start with a video or the story of John Wayne Gates and how there were skeletal remains found under his house, and somehow people figured out who those bones belonged to. And then kids are going to ask a whole bunch of questions, and we're going to use the lessons that I have from years of doing the same thing and answer the questions that the kids have rather than me giving them the lessons so they can answer my questions, right? It's really as simple as that, as taking the stuff you've already got in file cabinets and drawers and Google Drives, all of that. And instead of you saying, here, kids, this is what you're going to do today. Here's the question you're going to answer today. Let them answer the questions. And if your prompt is effective, they're going to ask the same questions you were going to ask them anyway. So just let them ask it and then they own it. And then the easiest thing to do for student-centered learning is reflection and goal setting. Let them set their own goals and let them think about what went well and what didn't and how they can do better. And they will. Even the most reluctant students do it. And when they're successful for themselves, right? That intrinsic motivation, building that so they come to class ready to do something for themselves, not sitting there because they know they need to, because they'll get in trouble for not showing up.
I love it. Doing my clinical teaching in Springfield, back when I was in Springfield College for my master's, I had the blessing to teach an elective class. The kids had already passed their AP Calc class, Bonnie, and the class was called Discrete Math. And the master teacher who I was under said, here's what you're going to do. You're going to go ahead and come up with a lesson that introduces the bridges of Königsberg to teach network theory. And I had to come up with a unit on network theory. Now, I really had no clue what to do. So I created a question just like you did and had the kids explore things through a soap bubble computer to talk about how the tensile strength of soap bubbles always came to a perfect 120-degree point. It was really cool, right? But they had to investigate why. Came up with I stole it from somebody else. But it was fantastic because the kids ended up going on and creating these unbelievable instructional units as we continued to progress through the class. So I really appreciate what it is you're trying to do. But hey, others out there are going to be able to find lots of tidbits of information from you with these online courses that you're developing. How do they access the online course tomorrow? Where do they go? How do we help promote it for you? And how do they stay involved and get in touch with Bonnie Nieves?
So the online course is being put out through my website, educateonpurpose.com. And there's not even a housing for it yet. Tomorrow I click the button and everything should go poof and appear. And then I have a nice week off. So we'll see. But yeah, it's going to be at Educate on Purpose. It will be incredibly easy to find once I put the button there. And the way that you can help promote it is that it's going to be free. This first course, it's a 5-hour course that I really just want people to give me some feedback on it and see like what worked, what didn't. I spent the summer learning about adult learning theory because I know it's so different than what I've been used to doing. So I'm trying to make it really specific for adults who have limited time that want to learn something quick. So this is a 5-hour course, and anyone who completes it and gives me some feedback, that I will give them a coupon code for a full course at a discount to be determined. But promise it will be worth it. Promise. Because I know what it's like to have to give feedback to someone, and I also know that it's really good to get feedback from the people that I'm trying to market it to. Right?
So right now, when Chris was talking about, I don't know what he was saying. I know it was. I know
Other
it was
social studies, Josh.
I know it was English.
Me too.
I was thinking of my abacus and my beta tapes. So he was
Math
talking
rules,
about
baby. Math rules.
I have no idea. You know, us history
That's
teachers
nice.
look at you and we're like, huh? But that's not the point here, Bonnie. Because you know what? As we move on, we need to be at the level of our students because they're living off of this. My 3-year-old loves this, and he's swiping like this, and he's calling China. I don't know who he's calling, but you know what? The new tech tools are crucial for our team members. When we do our book presentations, I ask our team members to present via Flip. It's not Flipgrid anymore. It's called Flip.
Yeah, I was there for the reveal. Oh my gosh, so cool.
Pear Deck, Nearpod, anything that engages the kids to ensure that they're successful in their learning, to connect with them, and then everybody else sees that we're on the same page. So what can you bring to the table today that somebody in Iowa, someone in Minnesota, Michigan, what are these new tech tools that you can present to us that we could write it down on our yellow pad, Chris, and use it for tomorrow?
Ooh, all right. So I've got a few, and let's see. I've got teacher facing and student facing. My absolute favorite is Spaces EDU. It's spacesedu.com. And this is free for teachers. And what it is a learning platform where students gather their work. And it's like a digital portfolio. But since it has come out, they've really expanded it based on teacher feedback to now include proficiency scales and messaging to parents, which is the number one thing that I love about this. So I literally have talked about this for hours in the past, so I'll save you from all that. But the things that I think set this apart from other things is students gather their own work and reflect on it. Parents get push notifications when their students submit something, which really helps build the benefit mindset, as opposed to Google, which only sends messages when things are missing, right? So with Google, parents don't see the work that's been completed, and they don't get to congratulate kids or comment back on it. And in Spaces, they do. And then the other thing is there's a built-in parent communication system where you can talk to parents or parents and students for all the parents and all the students in any sort of configuration. So you can really choose who you talk to. Next thing is along.org that gives suggestions for SEL activities. And yeah, it's really cool. It's from Meta or Chan Zuckerberg.
Josh, you want to drop that in the chat as Bonnie does this?
And let's see, for a quick activity, stop saying favorite. Nativeland.ca for a real quickie thing. It's a map that shows you whose native land you're living on right now. And then you can click to get more information. And what I love about this one is that up until maybe 5 years ago, I thought that Native Americans and indigenous people only lived in certain places that I learned about in school. So like in Florida and like out west somewhere, I never knew specifically, and in Massachusetts, because that's what I learned about with Plymouth Rock and all of that. This map shows that every single part of every piece of land in the world has had someone living and thriving on it before we showed up. It's amazing, really amazing. And it gets some conversation started for sure. And if we're going to go to that safe space, like seeing every student and culturally responsiveness, that's an awesome resource right there.
Hey, Bonnie, can you give me the SEL one? I apologize. The SEL one from Meta?
Yeah, it's along.org.
So Bonnie, how did you go about getting into finding these? How do you train your mind to, step out of your comfort zone? And who do you reach out to? How do you beg, borrow, and steal? I mean, fill that toolbox. I mean, how did that happen for you?
So a lot of times it started as Twitter chats, right?
Yep.
And so
right, that's huge right there. All you teachers out there, if you're not on a Twitter chat and just learning, you're still buying your clothes at Montgomery Ward and you're still getting your videos at where? Blockbuster.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Sorry, Josh, I had to steal that one.
Oh, but really, people are so afraid of social media, and you have to be careful.
Yeah.
I, for one, have never had a bad experience on Twitter. Like people say, oh, these people that are tearing people down and everything. I just ignore it. I just don't even pay attention to any of that. I follow the people I follow, and I follow topics, which you can do on Twitter. Mm-hmm. So if you're interested in something, I mean, there's a hashtag for it. Just start there. And then you'll find people that are always talking about the same things, and you follow those people, and then those people follow other people. And then you build your network that way.
That's right.
Yeah. And then, I mean, that when people say that's like drinking from a garden hose, like that's one thing, but then going to conferences and stuff, that's the fire hose right there. Like going to the sessions and the vendor halls and talking to people and just collecting cards from people so that you can come back and talk to them later. And now with social media, when I came back from the ISTE conference in New Orleans, I had a week of Zoom calls after that. Like, I don't have time to talk to you right now, and I'm a little overwhelmed, but can we Zoom when I get home? And I learned a lot about a lot of things because I took the time to ask for a private session with people, and people love talking about their products for sure, because they built them because they love them. Awesome. I got one more good share if we got time for it.
Of course we do.
It's Hey Para. I might
say it again. Say it again.
It's HAPARA. I mean, like when I say I collect cards, like I do. They're right here, still checking away at them. But Hey Para is an app it's a web app that helps teachers and administrators teach kids how to be safe online. So instead of automatically blocking everything that is unfamiliar, the teacher gets this screen that they can see what students are working on and block it from their screen, but then they're prompted to go just have a conversation with that kid. Like, what were the search terms that brought you to that? And what search terms could you use to be more effective? So now that gets into not just looking at inappropriate things, but just off topic things, right? It's kind of like when we all used to go back to the library and pull out the wrong drawer and pull out the wrong card and ended up in the wrong row of the library, right? Except for this now, the kids can search for anything on earth, and the possibilities are endless. So teaching kids how to search better is really, really useful. Like, I can see it in my high school students, the kids who have had digital literacy courses and kids who have not, because they're way more effective at using the internet. And it goes back to the phone in your hand all the time.
I'm going to go back and I'm going to ask this question because, again, it's stepping out of your comfort zone, Bonnie, and I think it's important. So talk to me about the jump from classroom to being the CEO of Educate on Purpose. I have to ask because you know what? We all aspire to be something better each day. And again, you took a quantum leap to be able to jump out and say, not only can I do what I do during the day, but I can also have a great impact on others by going in this direction. Talk about how that evolved.
It's one of those things that it just kind of, the frog doesn't know the water's boiling. If it just goes up by a degree at a time, that's kind of what happened. So I just started out with writing reflections in a journal and going online and talking about my reflections, and someone saying, "Whoa, those reflections are pretty cool. You probably could write a book with that." And I was like, "Not me." And then after I had enough of them, I did that, and enough people read the book that they were like, "Whoa, there's a lot of good information in this book. This is like an encyclopedia. Do you have any more?" Like, well, yeah, I got lots. I just don't have time to write it all down. So I started doing conferences and ed camps and professional development. And I thought, whoa, wait a minute. I need some umbrella for this, because I need more of a focus. So I reached out to someone from my PLN, because I have a massive PLN that I've built over time with experts at everything, because I'm not an expert at everything. And this person said, just gave me some really good advice about starting up a company and how I should do it. And my original idea was just to have like a Be Awesome on Purpose consulting umbrella. And this person said, think about years from now, you're going to want to have like social studies on purpose, science on purpose, math on purpose. So make it more general, like educate on purpose, and then everything will fit under that umbrella. So I was like, okay. So I formed an LLC and just went around and just left it. And I thought, it's there. I can use it for something. And then people just are so supportive. Like I said before, I surround myself with supportive people who are just my biggest cheerleaders. And they're the first ones to tell me when I make a mistake, and they're the first ones to tell me when I'm headed in the right direction. Do more of those things. And so I'm doing more of the things that support teachers. So if that's helping them save time, or helping them with classroom management and navigating science standards I'm a science teacher. I've been for a long time. So I I know a little bit about teaching science, definitely more than a first year teacher. So I'm willing to share all of that. And I love adult learning as much as I love high school teaching, and a million times more than I love elementary teaching.
I'm blown away. I'm blown away by your determination, your grit, your command to being good, really, really good at what you do. Those things are they're incredible. And like I'm going to go back to say your district's lucky to have you, but the people around you are lucky to have you too. Those kids, your learning community, because you're not just in Mendon Upton. You are now going like this, and you're making a bigger ripple. Think about that for a second. How cool is that?
Oh, it's really cool. Like, I get choked up a little bit, and I think about like being reflective. I think about all the things that I did in my career, my side jobs, my things that got me through college, and I was always the person that trained other people. And then I went to college to be a scientist, which meant I was going to work in a room by myself all day. And my career counselor said, "Nah, I don't think you're cut out for that. You're a teacher." I'm like, "No, I'm not a teacher. I hated school. I hated high school. I don't want to go back to that." So then I ended up, long story short, I ended up in the classroom. And within my first year, I was talking to a colleague next door, and I said, "You know what? I love this place. I'm going to retire from this place." And he said, "No, you're not. You've got bigger and better things ahead of you. I know it." And I said, "Really? Yeah, I don't think so." He's like, "Someday I'm going to be able to say, 'I knew you when.'" And he's still like, he texts me every once in a while, like, "See, I told you. I told you someday I'm going to be able to say it. I knew you when." So, I mean, these are the people I have behind me, right?
We call them motivators.
Yes.
We all need them in our corner. There's no doubt. Chris?
Yep.
100%. Now, Bonnie, I appreciate the humble nature that you bring to this conversation and acknowledging all those people in your PLN who help take your game to the next level. You've got to understand, like Dean said, you're taking other people's game to the next level as well. So, game changer. Just thanks so much for joining us. I'm really excited to get on Educate on Purpose tomorrow. Check out that online course, see what it's got to offer, see how I can be better, share that with some colleagues, see how we can all be better and focus and keep moving forward.
Yeah, I'm really open. I mean, I start slow because I do everything on purpose. So I want to make sure I'm not building things that are ineffective, because it takes a long time to build things. So it's going to be slow and really built on feedback, because I want it to be the thing that people need, not the thing I feel like pushing out.
Sustainable growth. Yes. Dr. Tovar, what do you got, man?
Just real quick, Bonnie, in case someone came in late to the show, can you please let us know where to get a hold of you?
Yeah, I am Biology Goddess on Twitter, and Be Awesome on Purpose on Instagram. And I can't figure out LinkedIn user. Does LinkedIn even have usernames? How do you do that? I'm just Bonnie.
It's just your name. It's Bonnie Nieves. Yeah. We connect to it. I haven't figured it out yet either, but
yeah, it's like some string of numbers after my name or something. I don't know, but you find me. And Facebook, rarely ever. If you send me a message on Facebook and I don't get back to you, it's because I check it once a month. So don't feel bad.
Hey, Bonnie, thank you for sharing that information. And just a reminder to everybody out there that this coming Tuesday, we have our office hours open at 8 p.m. So come on and join us on this coming Tuesday with 3 great administrators with a 20-minute show. 20 minutes, that's it. Where we discuss, we break down one problem that we face as administrators, as educators across the United States. So don't forget to join us this coming Tuesday for office hours open up at 8 p.m. Eastern.
You're all right on that, Josh. Hey, Bonnie, again, thank you very much for coming on today. Second time's even better. Can't wait for the third time when you hit that ground running and really start to blow that stuff up out there, because that's going to be so much fun to watch you get there. And there's no doubt in my mind that you will. So we wish you a great rest of the summer. I know you're on the same schedule as us. You don't go back until the end of the month. So make sure you get some rest, relax. And, Chris, did I leave anything out?
I don't think so, man. We'll be in touch. We'll see you around town. Maybe catch you
Hold
at
on a
Back and
second. I
Shop.
got to do this. I got to say this, okay? You see these 3 boxes right here? Bonnie, Dean, and Chris? They're all from the same town, Josh. Texas has normally got us surrounded. Right now, Dudley's got Texas surrounded. Take that.
It's not often that Dudley outnumbers Texas.
Central Massachusetts is just on fire with awesome educators. Oh my gosh, for such a small place.
I love it.
We got a lot going on. Well, hey, gang, let's go ahead and wrap it up tonight. We'll get back here on Tuesday night for office hours. Hang tight on the screen, Bonnie, Josh, and Dean. Have a great night, everybody, and just keep on getting better.
Keep on going.